Hey everyone, Modern Mama Shark here, and today's video is tips and tricks so that you can wear your Louboutins every single day to work, all day, every day, and survive to the end of the work week without your feet wanting to kill you because they hurt so bad. Because Louboutins are not known to be comfortable. High heels in general, but Louboutins especially are not known to be comfortable. But I have made it my mission to wear my Louboutins every day to work, and I've been doing it for 8 months. So I've definitely learned a lot, and I've come up with basically an entire system that I do, a routine, just to make sure that I can wear them every day to work and feel awesome, because everyone knows Louboutins make you feel awesome when you wear them. So this video, I'm hoping to pay some of that forward and teach you some tips and tricks so that you can do the same. The first rule is that every single pair that I wear to work is well broken in, and I mean really, really, really well broken in. Not like you wore it a couple of times, for a couple of hours here and there. I mean, dedicate some serious time to breaking them in and making sure that they are well molded to your feet. For me, I dedicate at least a month at home every day, wearing them a little bit every day, breaking them in. I usually will start out with about an hour or two, and then just wear them every day for a couple of hours and kind of build up the time until I can at least get to 4 hours. Usually you'll come to a point where you will walk around the house for 3 or 4 hours and you'll realize, hey, these shoes are still really comfortable. I don't feel like I need to take them off. And that's a good time to try them out at work and kind of debut them into the world, because if you can make it for 4 hours at home, there's a good chance you're going to make it at work too. Very, very good chance. So I could probably do an entire video just on breaking them in, but that is the gist of it, is just to wear them. The second rule I have is that I actually wear them a little bit on the weekends too. Nothing crazy. I don't even go out in them on the weekends. I will just wear them around the house for like an hour or two. I will literally put them on. I will go do laundry or go play with my kids, go make lunch, whatever, but just wear them for a couple hours. The main reason I do this is because I found that if I took the whole weekend off and I went into, UGG mode and just was wearing Uggs or flats, when I go to work again on Monday and here I am wearing high heels again for 9 hours, my feet kind of would go into shock. It's almost like, even though it was only 2 days off, it's almost like they forgot what it was like to wear heels. So I wear them every day, just for a little bit every day, just to keep that kind of muscle memory with your feet of like, okay, this is what it's like to wear heels and to walk in them and everything. Believe it or not, it really does help. The third rule that I have is that I never wear the same pair of shoes 2 days in a row. Now, you don't need 5 pairs of shoes. You don't have to alternate every, single day. Even if you only have 2 pairs, just alternate them, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, the Monday shoe, and, Thursday, the Tuesday shoe, or whatever, but just alternate them. So the reason for this is pretty simple, but each pair of shoe is going to kind of rub different parts of your feet. It's going to be tight on certain areas, not so tight on others. And so you may make it through Monday and you'll feel fine. Like you made it the whole day, nothing wrong with your feet. They did great in the high heels. And then if you wear them Tuesday without realizing it, that shoe is going to be rubbing on those exact same spots again for another day, causing friction maybe on the same spot on your pinky toe or on your heel. And so by the end of the day, you're probably going to feel a little bit in pain, in those spots. So for me, alternating my shoes helps a lot just to avoid friction on the exact same spots of my feet every day. Now, it's great if you can alternate styles, because obviously they're going to feel different. Each style is different with your feet. But if you can't alternate each styles, like if you only have, one specific style that you like, at least if you can alternate the type of leather. So for me, I love hot chicks. So I have a patent, I have an embossed, and I have a Napa. And I basically just rotate them throughout the week. So it really does make a difference because they break in a little bit differently. They feel differently. Like the Napa is softer and will, for me, it causes less friction. But the patent is harder and actually kind of holds my foot sturdier, if that makes sense. So they do impact my feet differently, even though they're the exact same style. So definitely at least alternate the type of leather. If you only have one type, like patent Hot Chicks and that's all you have, I mean, I would still alternate them because they probably did break in a little bit differently, but I would honestly get at least, a Napa or something, a different type of leather for your other shoe. So my first rule in the day is that I get up, I get ready, and then 10 to 20 minutes before I need to leave the house, that is when I put on my Louboutins. Not 10 to 20 seconds, not when I'm running out the door like, crap, I'm late. No. 10 to 20 minutes. So there's a couple of reasons why I do this. First is that Louboutins are actually kind of tight in the morning when you first put them on because they're cold. So that 10 to 20 minutes is actually very critical. It is when the leather will kind of warm up and remold to your feet. So you'll notice after 10 to 20 minutes that all of a sudden your shoes will feel much more comfortable and they're not going to feel so tight anymore. So for me, I feel like it's very important to have that period at home when you're able to walk around and just do natural movements that you're going to be doing throughout the day versus having that period in your car when you are stuck sitting and you can't really move and then your feet are in this awkward position with your toes kind of up, because you want to be able to either stand up or move around or walk where your feet are sliding forward in the shoe, and basically that the shoe is getting warmed up to your toes again, if that makes sense. But you can't do that in the car because your feet are going to kind of be like this. So you don't want that period in your car. If you're running behind and you just can't get them on in time, I would grab them, put some flip flops on or chancletas or whatever, put on some flats and run out the door, and then drive to work in the flats. And then when you get to work, then put them on before you get out of the car. That would be my other, backup option if you're running late. So the second reason, and probably the most important reason that I do this, is because it gives you a grace period to gauge how your feet are feeling that day in that specific shoe. And this gets more important as the week goes on because, you're wearing these shoes throughout the week and certain parts of your feet are probably getting irritated a little bit. And you may not realize it, but maybe the shoe you picked out that day, even if you hadn't worn it the entire week, maybe it's rubbing on a specific spot that's already just been too irritated throughout the week. So it gives you a few minutes to kind of gauge how your feet are feeling and decide if that shoe is going to work for you that day or if you need to change it out for a different pair of high heels. I do this frequently, honestly. Usually my Thursday, Friday, like I said, it's the most important because a lot of times I will change out my shoes. I've also learned what shoes are more comfortable, and you will learn that over time for you. Like, for example, I love my Hot Chicks, whatever reason, they're very comfortable for me. But I do have simple pumps, and they're a little bit narrower, and they're really not that comfortable. So for me, I never wear them towards the end of the week. Never. I always wear them if I do, like Monday or Tuesday. And then I wear my Hot Chicks the rest of the week just because they happen to be more comfortable for my feet. But anyway, so that 10 to 20 minutes is the perfect amount of time for you to gauge whether or not that shoe will work for you that day. The second rule I have is that before I put on my high heels, I put a little bit of lotion on the front part of my feet before I step into my Louboutins. I know that's not going to be a very popular rule because I'm sure many of you are cringing at the idea of putting lotion on your feet and then stepping into really expensive designer heels. So first, the reason that this is so important. So putting lotion on your feet will significantly reduce the friction between your feet and the shoes. It's honestly, besides breaking in your shoes, it's the number one preventative thing you can do to avoid having any issues with your feet and the shoe during the week, to avoid blisters and hot spots and stuff like that, is just putting lotion on. It creates kind of a moisture barrier. It helps your feet slip into the shoe better, especially during that 10 to 20 minute warming up period. So it's critical. You honestly, non-negotiable. You will not survive an entire work week wearing high heels if you don't put lotion on. So for those of you who are worried about it damaging your shoe, definitely make sure you get a fragrance-free lotion. You don't need anything fancy like Love Spell or Victoria's Secret. Just something fragrance-free. I actually just use Aveeno baby lotion. That's how you know I'm a mom. But I checked the ingredients and they're safe for leather. The only one that's not great is sodium chloride, but it's the second to last ingredient. So it's basically like 0.05% of the entire formula. So it's not enough to make a difference, especially given that everything else in this product is actually good for leather. So that's what I use. If you don't like that idea though, no worries. There's tons of fragrance-free lotion out there that you can kind of look at and decide for yourself. But like I said, non-negotiable, you really need to make sure you put just a little bit of lotion on your feet every morning. My third rule is that once I get to work, I do not take off my shoes pretty much for anything. There's a lot of caveats to this one. So the reason that this is my rule is what I found was that when I would go to work and I would want to give my feet a break, and just kick off my shoes underneath my desk, 10-20 minutes, whatever, lunch break, what I found is that my feet would actually swell a little bit. And then when I tried to put my shoes back on, oh my God, did it hurt. Oh my God. Like, it was so much more damaging to actually give my feet that break and then, try to jam my fat swollen foot back into the shoes again. It really was. It was awful. So that is why that is a rule for me. Now you can, take your feet out briefly, put lotion on or whatever, and then put your feet back in. Just don't take those short like lunch breaks and give your feet that short break, because it's honestly going to cause more damage later. Now, 2 caveats. So the first one is that if you have like 3 hours, go ahead, knock yourself out, kick them off. I've done that before. I've gone to work all day, come home for 3 hours and more in flats at home, and then put on high heels and gone out. That's fine, because honestly, like, that is plenty of time for your feet to kind of recover and hit reset, and they're not going to be swollen. So that's totally fine. That's plenty of time. The second caveat is that if your feet are in pain and they're just done, like if you're just done, that's different. Like, we're not, the whole point of the rule is not to have you suck it up and power through the pain. It's just to avoid hurting your feet later on. So especially in the beginning, it's going to be kind of hard working up to wearing high heels all day long if you're not used to it. So if you're halfway through the day and you're like, God, my feet are just done, I can't do it, there's nothing wrong with that. Just kick them off, put on your flats. You're going to have backup flats. We'll get to that in a minute, and then go about your day. There's nothing wrong with that as you work up to wearing them all day. So that would be the only other time I would say take them off, is just if you really need to protect your feet. Okay guys, so rule number 4 and my last rule for the daily routine is that when I leave work and when I head back to my car and I get in my car and I'm all by myself, that is when I take off my high heels. Kick them off, you're done. You're done for the day. Yeah, so what I found was that in the beginning, I would actually try to drive home with my high heels on. And even if I went the whole day and my feet felt fantastic, I had no issues, no pain, when I got in my car and drove home, within 60 to 90 seconds, my feet would be screaming bloody murder. They hurt so bad. It was the craziest thing. And I think maybe it's because, like I said, your feet are kind of at a funny angle when you're driving, and maybe the blood rushing back, and then after, wearing the shoes all day, but it just hurts so bad. So I just take them off now, and I give my feet a break, and then, put on flats, and then walk into the house. Like I said, you're going home. Who the hell cares? But yeah, definitely do not drive home with them, because I feel like there's a good chance you're going to be in pain, and you will know when you forgot to take off your shoes. You'll know within a minute, I promise. So take them off, perfect time when you're in your car driving home. First, a couple of things that are good to have in your car with you. I carry baby wipes. Honestly, this is not a requirement. It really doesn't actually have to relate to your comfort. I just find I'm always using them. Like, I have these anyways because I'm a mom, but I always find myself using them in relation to my shoes. maybe like you got some dirt or something on them and you want to wipe them off or whatever. But I feel like I'm always just either using these to clean my shoes or wipe my feet or something. So good idea to have, but you don't need to for your comfort. I have, actually I don't have these in my car. I have these in my purse. I have flats, little, beautiful little foldable flats. You always want a backup pair of shoes just in case, even if you, like I've been doing this for 8 months and I still carry these, even though I never really need to wear them anymore, just in case, like you never know. So I like these because these are real shoes. They're very substantial. They have really thick heels. The inside, if you can see, it's kind of like this memory foam. And they're very thick, and they're honestly, they're just real shoes. Like they feel like I could wear them all day. They are a little big, but they fold up, which is awesome. And what I do is that I actually will take them and I'll kind of sit them in the bottom of my purse where it's the widest, and then just leave them there, and I'll put all my other stuff on top of them. I do have another option that's thinner that I'm going to show you. But if I'm being honest, I absolutely hate these, but they're an option. So before I got the thick ones, I got this thin little kit from Amazon. They're called Rolly Flats. They say foldable and comfortable. They're definitely foldable, not comfortable. But I got these because these will fit in everywhere. So it's not bad to have these. I mean, if you absolutely need them. I wore them one time. I had to go walk around like 1900s cobblestone road out to lunch, and so I didn't want to jack up my hot chicks. I was honestly very comfortable in them. I was afraid because that cobblestone will definitely ruin your stiletto. So I put these on, and I actually, like the minute I got off the cobblestone and onto regular sidewalk, I took these off and I put my hot chicks on because my hot chicks were more comfortable. So the reason that these are just so awful is that, number one, these aren't even a shoe. Like, you're gonna get more support from a sock. Okay, just bring socks or something, because this is like nothing. This is so paper thin. This is not leather or any sort of a proper sole. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like aluminum foil. I don't know. It's just very thin. The material is kind of almost see-through. Like when you hold it up to the light, you can see through it. But the real reason that I absolutely hated these was, if you can tell, there's like this bump here, right? So all the way around the shoe is wire. So if you think about like one of those underwire bras, like the sheer mesh things that don't give you any support, but then you put an underwire in it. That is basically what this is for your feet. It's basically a see-through material with underwire. So it was so irritating to my toes and my heels and everything. It was just not comfortable at all. So I really hate this product, but it's thin and it will fit anywhere. And obviously you don't want to ruin your heels. So, you know, it's there. I'm actually honestly going to throw that away when we're done with the video, but I did want to give you another option because I know that first pair was kind of thick and maybe you guys, you know, don't have that room in your purse. Okay guys, so now to the fun part. What is in my Louboutin emergency survival kit? So, a little sneak peek. Got a whole bunch of goodies in there. You can't even see half of it with that view. But anyways, so I have in this bag, what I have is basically several baggies that are organized by what they do for my feet. And then I have a couple other things, which I'll show you at the end. But each baggie has like a silica gel pack. This is a great idea to have because what I found for me is that sometimes I get so busy throughout the day and like maybe I'll want to put a pad or something in my shoe for a couple of hours, but then I'll take it out. You know, I don't need it the whole day. And so if I'm busy, I may not have time to like wipe it off properly or clean it properly. And so I put the silica gel packs in there just to keep everything kind of sanitary and from getting gross. It'll absorb a lot of the extra moisture, at least until I can get home and clean everything properly at home. So it's just an extra precaution. But in this bag, this is my cushiony, soft, fun stuff, basically. I don't know what you call it, but I have a couple of different things. So the first thing I have, I'm sure you guys have all seen them. These are very basic, but I have these little pads that go under the ball of your feet. So your toes will be up here, and then this will support the ball of your feet. These are very practical, honestly. Like, they're nothing to get excited about, but they work great. I think everybody should have these. They are super easy to slip in. They're actually pretty thin. So even if the shoe like is kind of tight, you should be able to fit these in. And I will use these for about an hour or two. If the balls of my feet are starting to hurt, I'll just slip these in and give my feet kind of a break. So these are awesome to have, very practical, like I said, nothing to get excited about, but they work really good. The other thing I have is that it's actually like a kit, but so I have these two little memory foam pads. They were actually one. So they're supposed to be like this. You fold them, and then this is for the back of your heel, and this will actually support the bottom of your heel. I ended up separating them and making two different things out of them because I feel like if I have, this is so thick that if I have it underneath my heel, it's actually going to make my foot too high in the shoes, and then my feet might actually slip out. So I don't use it for that. But I use this for everything else. These feel amazing. Like I said, these are like super soft memory foam. They're awesome. If you can, definitely get these. I actually have the box I wanted to show everyone. So, because it's kind of a weird brand I got off of Amazon, but these are amazing. So this, I will put it basically the same like places I'll put this. I'll put it underneath the ball of my feet, or in the arch of my foot if I need a little support there. Pretty much anywhere in your shoe. You can even cut it up smaller if you need some support in a different spot on your feet. So I have actually two of these in here just for that reason, in case I need to cut one up. But they're amazing, and it feels better than the other one that I showed you, to be honest. So I would definitely get that little pack. I have these little very thin gel heel protectors. You can tell I've used them. These are only like $3, and they're not like, they're nothing to get excited about. They're not as soft as the memory foam ones, but they work, and I like them because they're super thin. So you may have a shoe that is, you just don't have enough room to put this thick memory foam in. So then you have this at least, and you can slip that in for the day and give the back of your heels a break. So I use these a lot. These are very practical, super cheap. Like I said, super duper cheap. So the other thing that I have, and it's kind of silly, but I wanted to show you how creative you can be with your kit. So I have these pads for basically support, or to keep my feet from slipping forward. These are like the liner that you put in your kitchen cabinets. This is just excess liner that we had. So I cut it up and I put it in my kit in the beginning when I didn't, have all this other stuff and hadn't bought anything yet. I just cut these up, put them in. So you don't have to spend a ton of money to get your kit going. You can use stuff around the house that you already have. Like this, I keep them in there because I really like them. They're super thin, but they're still soft. And I did find them very helpful, especially when it's like hot out and I feel like my foot's slipping around. I can just put this underneath my feet, and then I'm good to go for the day. So definitely be creative with your kit. Like I said, there's lots of things you could have in it. So okay, so now we have two baggies that are like I think this is silicone. But anyways, so this baggie is full toe cover. So these products will basically cover your entire, all 5 toes. So this came in a 2-pair pack, and it was really big, so I cut them up. So this one, it's actually cut for the hot chick. That's why there's like all that space right there for the toe cleavage area or whatever. But these are really nice. They feel really good too. So they're soft silica gel, and you put them over your toes, and it just cushions your entire foot. This one I kept longer, so it kind of will go underneath the ball of my foot for when I need that. And then the other pair, I cut them super short in case I don't want, that support underneath the ball of my feet. I do find that I actually will use this one more. And the main reason is that there's less material, because the downside to these is that they're just so thick. You may not always be able to use these with every pair of shoes because you may not have enough room in the toe box. So it just depends. But like I said, super soft, super comfortable, very cushiony. And I did keep like the extra material that I cut off believe it or not, sometimes I just need like a little piece of something, you know, under like maybe your big toe or whatever. And so I have the little pieces here and I just kept them. So the other silica pack is individual toe covers. So there's two types of toe covers that you can buy. You can buy these that cover your whole toe, or you have these little rings that will leave the top of your toe out. I only bought these, but they were so big, they're like Bigfoot size. So they were basically like this, and I just cut them and I saved these for the rings. So I basically got like two products in one. So it's actually better, I think, to get the full toe cover. Like I said, unless you have, you know, size, I don't know, 50, if that's even a size, but you'll be fine. These are massive. But yeah, so I use these more actually than I use like the full toe covers. More than I use these, but just because they're smaller, they take up less room. You can individualize it so you don't have to cover your entire foot, maybe just my pinky toe or something like that. So yeah, these are super nice, very practical, and I do use these honestly more than the larger ones, just because not a lot of room in the hot chick. So the last baggie I have is basically like my medical baggie. So in this baggie I have several things. So the first thing I have is I actually have moleskin. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think you need moleskin. I have something else I'm going to show you here in a second that's actually better. I bought these first before I knew of the other product because I was just so used to using moleskin, honestly, in the Army. So for some reason, I was like, oh, to prevent blisters, I need moleskin. You really don't. It does help if you have it lying around, put it in there, it'll get you started, but it's not like my number one product I would use. The number one product I would use is Louboutin. So this stuff is amazing. It is flexible. It will curve with your foot, if that makes sense, back of your heel, your toes. It's very stretchable. It's also waterproof, so you can put this on and shower in it and wear it the whole week and it won't come off. So this is great if you're getting maybe like a hot spot throughout the week, maybe one of your toes or something is getting really irritated by all your shoes. You can actually just put this on and then keep it on for the whole week and protect your toe for the whole week, or the ball of your foot or your heel or whatever. This is amazing. Definitely get Louboutin if you can. Now, Louboutin does not come in these little pieces. It doesn't. Louboutin comes and a gigantic roll. So what I did was, this is another hack, but I took this address label things or whatever. I took some address labels, and what you do, super easy, you just take off a roll of the address labels, roll the Louboutin on it, and then cut it up. And then you can make your own little travel sizes with it, and it lasts forever. It works amazing. And that's how I got these little strips right here, and the little teeny pieces was just from that. Oh, and by the way, the Louboutin, this is actually marketed for like hikers who go hike at Mount Everest. So it's serious stuff. It really works good. But yeah, like I said, that's the hack, and you can make your own little travel Louboutin, which is perfect for your shoe or for your feet. So the other thing I have, and this was just something I had lying around the house. You don't necessarily have to use this, but I have sports tape. This is that KT sports tape. So we just had some, and what I use this for, I don't even actually use it for sports tape, but there is a hack out there where if you pretend these are my toes, if you tape together these two specific toes, it actually alleviates some pain for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it does. It works. It actually alleviates a little bit of pain. And it's great too if your toe box is kind of small. It just kind of, I don't know, keeps everything together. But so that's what I use the sports tape for. Instead of getting, tape that's not really for your skin, I just use the sports tape. I will take it, I will, tape those two toes together and then go about my day. And it's super easy to take off. It's very comfortable on your feet. So the last thing I'm going to show you, it's actually a new addition to my kit. I didn't have this before. But I did decide to add a little package of blister bandages. Now, to be honest, I have not needed this. I haven't had a single blister in the entire 8 months. I actually did have a blister before that from trying to break in my first pair of Louboutins and just being entirely too crazy about it. So yeah, I actually got a blister wearing them at home, believe it or not. But I have not had a blister wearing my shoes to work. And that's basically because my whole goal is to just constantly be aware of how my feet are feeling and to constantly be working to make them either more protected or more comfortable. So I'm so conscious about my feet that I never actually get to the point where I need a blister bandage. But I do think it's a great idea to have it, and that's why I put it in my kit. I actually had a coworker ask me if I had one because she knows about my emergency survival kit, and I felt bad I didn't have one for her at the time. But it's a good idea to have because honestly, you never know, especially in the beginning when you're just getting used to wearing high heels all day. I think it's more likely that you could get a blister just from, like I said, getting used to wearing the heels and it being kind of a new thing. So definitely not a bad idea to actually have a blister pack in there or a little Band-Aid or something like that, just in case. Like I said, just in case. Okay, so I do have safety pins. You do not need these. I have these in there because I use these in relation to my clothes sometimes. So I just wanted to show you because you can put other stuff related to your wardrobe in your kit. It's like the perfect spot to put it so you don't lose it. Because otherwise stuff would get so chaotic inside my purse and I would never find these. But okay, so I got just a couple more things and then we'll be done. So I do have some baby scissors. These are actually really important to have. Definitely have some little baby scissors in your kit. And what I use them for is just like for the Leukotape. If I want to cut a piece to size, because I don't need this whole, strip around my pinky toe or wherever. So I will just cut this to size and then with the scissors and then use it. Or even like, I've done it with these ones too. You can tell they're kind of uneven because sometimes I'll put them on and I'll think, okay, I don't need all that material and I'll cut it off. So I'm just always cutting my stuff to size. Even, I haven't cut this one yet, but I could see myself cutting these in half if I needed to or something. So it's just a great idea to just have these on hand. That way you're not trying to hunt around the office for scissors, and then being real obvious, like, yeah, I'm just, cutting my Leukotape for my feet that are hurting or something. So anyways, scissors, very good idea. All right, almost done, guys, I swear. All right, last two things in my Louboutin emergency survival kit. I have these 2 travel containers. This one is lotion for my feet. Like I said, I like to reapply it at lunch. This one is my absolute last emergency product that I have. This is fragrance-free Aspercreme numbing gel. So there is a hack where you can put this numbing gel on your feet and it actually numbs them for a couple of hours so you can get through whatever you're getting through that day, whatever event or something. So I don't suggest this as your first option ever. The goal is to keep your feet comfortable and it's preventative. But if you get to like Thursday or Friday and your feet are kind of hurting those last couple hours, definitely treat whatever problem is developing, but then put this on. I do honestly probably like every Friday I put this on at the end of the day. It works honestly. It makes your feet significantly more comfortable, and then you can kind of get through the last couple hours and survive the day. So that's it, guys. Look, that's it. That was all that stuff was in this little bag. So like I said, you can get super creative with your Louboutin emergency survival kit, but definitely create one. The more you have in there, the better. And the more likely you are to survive the day because you're going to be able to solve any issue that comes up with your feet. Okay, guys, so that is everything I have to show you. I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope you're able to take a lot of these tips and tricks and put them to work so that you can start wearing your Louboutins all day, every day to work or just to the grocery store, wherever the heck you feel like wearing them, but feel like the badass I know you are. Wear them, be comfortable in them, and enjoy them because I know you all work hard and deserve them. So wake up, kick ass, repeat, right guys? Go be mama sharks. Have a good day. Bye.